Stop. Now go.
Good evening and welcome to episode 8 of TBR, the To Be Read podcast. I'm joined as always by Michael Ronn and Archer Caldwell, and we meet weekly to talk about authors, books, and the industry. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Great.
Good. So we're sorry we're running just a little bit late tonight. We've been having some fun with Google, we'll call it. But we're here now, so welcome. So how's your week in reading, Michael?
Now go.
Evening and welcome to episode 8 of To Be Read, TBR, the To Be Read podcast.
YouTube there. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
that was me. I forgot. Okay.
This is going to be another fun one, I can tell.
Yeah, my reading week has been okay. I actually took a recommendation from you, Patrick.
Okay.
I've been reading Choose Yourself by James
awesome.
Altucher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I started it like back in the day, but I just never got through it. So
Okay.
I think I'm about 30% of the way through it, and he's talking just about, he's kind of gotten into the choose yourself part, where you can either just let things happen to you or you can make things happen, and it's interesting. I like his writing style. I can see why you like him so much. He's definitely got that like self-help kind of thing going,
Yeah.
but it's also really authentic, I think. Like he kind of tells you how he's kind of lost it all. So, kind of makes you think, the failures in your life, wow, that's pretty insignificant compared to him. But yeah, I like that a lot. And I'm still reading The Temple Is Not My Father, a book I mentioned last week. Just haven't gotten around to finishing it. And as a method of research, I've been reading some erotica too. So it's kind of interesting.
Research for your next book about teddy bears, or?
No, just research, just curiosity. It's
Okay.
like I don't really read that many romance novels or things like that, so it's like I'll grab some free ones off Amazon and just kind of see what makes them tick, So kind of sporadic and random my reading this week, but yeah, it's kind of what I've been doing. And I think next week I'm going to try to finish Choose Yourself
Mm-hmm.
by James Altucher, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to read next. I've been wanting to read some stuff by Hugh Howey, so I might jump into Wool. I feel like I need to read it.
Yeah.
So that might be something I read next. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, you pretty much have to read Wool. Everybody
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not negotiable. So it's like I might as well read it now.
It's a good series. I think you'll like it. It's a great series. And then, so really you're getting yourself into 9 books if you want to read the whole series.
Yeah.
Because Wool, I mean, I say books, but the first, I think Wool kind of gets longer and longer as you get through the 5 books. The first one's only, I don't know, I'm going to say 40 or 50 pages. And then they get sort of progressively longer. And then Shift, sort of the second set, is 3 books. And then Dust is just like a one kind of final book to finish it all off. I really enjoyed the series. I'm curious to see what they do when they turn it into a movie.
Yeah. Well, he gets released the graphic novel too.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. That's kind of awesome. Like I saw a few of the cutouts from the pages, and it looked really cool. So
You're the audiobook guy. Have you noticed if Wool is available in an audiobook? I'm sure it must be.
I'm not sure. I have the Sand audiobook back when he promoted it, a couple months ago. I have that, but I guess I haven't listened to it yet. But I would imagine it is. I mean, all his stuff is pretty much out on all platforms by now. So
Cool.
if it's not, I'm sure it will be soon.
Then you could, if you're looking for a couple quick reads too, you should check out some of his shorter, sort of earlier stuff. I haven't read it all, but iZombie is really good if you're looking for. It's extremely graphic and horrifying. The premise there is that the zombie apocalypse happens, but the zombies are all self-aware. They're still alive inside their heads, but they can't control their bodies anymore. So they basically are watching from the inside as they tear people apart and eat them alive. It's pretty gruesome stuff. And
Right.
And Halfway Home is a good little science fiction story about a spaceship that kind of crash lands on an alien planet, and they have just a survival tale. But it's good. I like Hugh Howey a lot.
Cool.
So that's your reading for the week?
Yep, that's the reading for the week. Kind of light this week, but
Yeah.
you know how that goes.
Oh yeah, that was my week last week. But yeah, I'm glad you like Altucher. So I've actually been reading Altucher this week as well. I picked up his newest book, How to Say No.
Okay.
And he wrote that with his wife, and so I'm just kind of just started that one. I expect I'll be talking about that next week. In the meantime, I finished reading Discovering Aberration by S.C. Barris.
Awesome.
So this is steampunk. I don't think either of you have read this book.
No.
No.
Okay,
I
so
like the
it's
premise.
yeah, so it's steampunk. Basically, it takes place in the country of Victania, on I'm going to say an alternate Earth, because there's clearly there's a part in the book where one of the characters is clearly reading Treasure Island to out loud to another character. So it's we'll call it an alternate Earth. Victania is the country, and a couple of academics, archaeologists. One of them discovers, or rather steals, a map to a secret island in the middle of the ocean, and it kind of kicks off this race to the island to see who can get there first and discover what's there for the taking. The archaeologists want to see what they can dig up and maybe bring back and sell. Fitzgerald are the two sort of primary characters that head off in this adventure to this place, and extremely well written. Love the language, like it really sucks you in. It feels not Victorian in the sense of like the old-timey language. It's not. It doesn't read like that. It reads just the way they speak, and the way he writes. I really enjoyed it. Good story. The whole mysterious island premise. I enjoy that. There's other books. It makes you think of a little bit of maybe Jurassic Park. A little bit of Fragment by Warren Fahey. I've talked about that book before. So great book, but I had one big problem with it, and it's a problem I think I've seen other people sort of reviewing it, and it's unfortunate because it really did take me out of the story, is it needs a serious edit for spelling mistakes, not so much spelling, but word use. So
Like too many of the same words or grammar, or
no, so I'm trying to think of some of the examples. If someone shudders in the book, it's spelt with two T's instead of two D's. So it's a word. It's so spell check wouldn't catch that.
Right.
One of the characters' names is misspelled in one part. There's a couple points where the word clever is used, but in the book it's cleaver. So and I hate that because I loved the book. I really enjoyed the story, but and if you see it in traditionally published books, right? I mean,
Right.
even those aren't immune to having those kinds of errors in them, but they're pretty few and far between. It just seems to me that this book needed one last just serious, slow edit, and it would be perfect. So that's unfortunate. The book is good enough that I still recommend it, but you're going to get pulled out of the story every once in a while as your eyes kind of catch these weird little things. And at first, I honestly wasn't sure if it was on purpose. It's kind of a book the book is supposed to have been written by one of the characters in the book. So at first, the first couple things I saw, I was like, I wonder if that's a choice.
vernacular as opposed to typographical error.
Yeah, but then you see one of the character names misspelled, and then you see a couple other things, and it becomes clear that it just needed one more kind of pass through by an editor, and it would be perfect. So hopefully that gets done, and then another, it's you just upload a new version of the book, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I do recommend that one, but just be aware of that. And so that's that, and the Altucher is sort of the reading that I went through this week. The other thing that I was up to this week I thought I'd mention, you guys are already aware, I think I was in Toronto last night at the Kobo offices to meet Joanna Penn and Mark Lefebvre, and that was a lot of fun. That's awesome. Joanna's fantastic. She's just very gracious, and she's a great speaker, and answered everybody's questions, and that was just aside from the drive to Toronto, which can be a little harrowing if you're not sort of familiar with the area of a bigger city like that. It was a long day, but a great night. So
breaking the fourth wall a little bit. What prompted you to do that, and how were you afforded the opportunity to go there?
Yeah, so they I learned this the hard way. They kind of send out invitations for these through the, if you're a member of the Kobo Writing Life, which you would be if you publish on Kobo. And so unfortunately I learned that had I done this weeks ago, I wasn't a member of Kobo Writing Life just yet because I wasn't ready to publish there. And sometimes they send out invitations to these types of events through that. And so I unfortunately missed an opportunity to maybe go down and see Hugh Howey. I think they said a couple weeks ago. So I signed up for that today because I don't want to miss any one of those. I actually found out about this through Joanna Penn's mailing list because I'm on that list, and she had sent out an invitation to I guess probably people in the area who might be interested in that. So I'm glad I didn't miss out on it. So it was a lot of fun. I wanted to go and meet Joanna. She's a fantastic blogger, and she's gained a fan obviously through that. I'm gonna start reading some more of her stuff, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
About how many people were there?
I think they said about 70.
Oh wow.
Well,
Yeah, there were a lot of people there, and the offices are beautiful. The Kobo Writing Life team was there, and they were very gracious as well. It was they made it a lot of fun. The offices are just wide open, sort of a loft kind of. Everybody works in one room, open concept. It looks like a fun place to work. And Mark Lefebvre is fantastic. He was very nice as well. It was nice to meet him, and we've seen him. Yeah, so it was good. It was a really good time. Time well spent for sure.
yeah, it's awesome that you were able to get that opportunity. That's good stuff, especially being. I guess how long of a drive was it to Toronto?
It's about 2 hours.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
But I was driving into Toronto during rush hour, so it was a little hairy. But I made it on time. I pulled up just as it was starting, and so it was all good. So Archer, your weekend reading was a little light.
It was a little late, but I guess we can break the fourth wall one more time because I
Sure.
did read one thing, and that was an amazing introductory blog post.
Indeed.
Oh, okay.
By yours truly, or not yours truly, but Mr.
By
Mr.
our very own Patrick
Yeah.
Stemp.
Thanks.
Please be honored that is quite literally the only thing I read this week.
I am honored. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And for all you watching, go out there to patrickstemp.com. Check it out. It was an awesome post.
Brand new this week, so I'm glad to finally get that launched. I'll tell you, that's one of the things that's made it tough to get some reading done, was getting that thing up there.
So I know this is about. I know we're about reading, but talk a little bit about why you did what you did. I mean, because the post is still about reading. Yeah, we're writers too, but I mean, you had a lot of why you read what you read in there, or maybe not what you read, but at least that you're a reader. So what made you want to come out and start off as a writer proclaiming your love for reading?
Well, I mentioned it in the post, like I've always had that sort of that creative urge, the bug to not just consume entertainment, but to kind of make some of my own. So when I was a kid, I played music a lot and had dreams of being a rock star, and and then life happens, and you have a family and stuff like that, and so I've always wanted to create, and so the writing bug hit me like maybe I think like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, but with absolutely no clue how to go about doing it. And we talked about Hugh Howey. He was kind of the guy that when he hit the scene opened my eyes that it can be done without, I think even 5 years ago, if you wanted to be a published author, we were probably all thinking of, I need an agent, and I'm going to have to send out query letters, and I'm going to have to basically beg.
Spend as much time writing query letters as you do writing your work of fiction.
Exactly.
And the elevator pitch and the blurb, and then you go into begging mode and start begging for attention and hoping you don't land in the slush pile, and you do, of course. So I'm kind of like to be self-sufficient, and I like to have control, total control if I can, over everything. And so through Hugh Howey, kind of, I was using the analogy of kind of lightning strikes. So Hugh Howey, hearing about him kind of really opened my eyes, and then being introduced to the self-publishing podcast guys, that was kind of strike two. Their amazing podcast with tons of information was a good launching pad for that, and then meeting you guys in the comments, getting to know you guys and become friends and launching our own podcast. So it was time. It needed to be done. Get the website up, and so that was a lot of learning, a lot of fun, and I'm glad it's live.
Give me a second.
Okay.
No, it was well written. Good
Thanks.
stuff. We'll let and he's back.
Sorry about that.
No
My
worries.
house isn't falling apart, or
No, my fan just like kicked on all of a sudden.
Oh.
It's creepy. Sorry.
No, it's fine. And then from a to be read perspective, I owe an independent published author, Garrett Robinson. I know, Patrick, you've mentioned him in earlier episodes, and
Yep.
Michael, I know you've read him. I don't know if you've talked about him on the show, but he is doing a vlog novel, serial fantasy story every week. And so I had the first chapter of Nightblade that I told him I'd read and talk about it on the show. So hold me to that, and that'll come next week. And then a couple other things I just want to kind of get off my my list. And actually, one of them, this is kind of for research as well, is Lemony Snicket's. I'm trying to work on a children's story with Sean Platt, and so I want to kind of gauge the tone and temperament of children's stories that aren't the Cat in the Hat. Not that there's anything wrong with Dr. Seuss, but tell a story and kind of captivate the mind.
Lemony Snicket's one I'd like to check out. I think I may have. The kids were reading Lemony Snicket a while ago. I may have read the first one. And there's what, 15, 20? Is it 13?
Yeah, and my daughter read all of them and burned through at just a torrential rate. And I remember she had them in paper. So this kind of goes back to, do you like to hold the book, or do you like it on Kindle or Kobo or Nook or whatever? But she has a little Kindle, and she was getting through the books like they were going out of style. And one evening there was just this cliffhanger of all cliffhangers, and she got to the end and she just looks at me, she's like, I gotta buy the next one, I gotta get it now. And so that's the beauty of Amazon. It's like, okay, there you go, it's yours. And so but there were many moments where she's 11 and just watching her just lighting her nails and what's gonna happen next. So just, if it can captivate my daughter that passionately, I'd like to see how they do it.
And it makes it worth you spending your money, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean,
you're happy to click buy now.
Yeah, she reads a lot, but that one, man, she blew through those, and I mean, she got through all of Harry Potter, and those are some monstrosities of books too. But it wasn't the same. I mean, she enjoyed them and she liked them, but it wasn't the same level of I gotta get to the next page. So this is interesting, and now she's on to Divergent.
Okay.
All roads lead to Divergent, it seems like.
Oh, I wish they didn't. Sorry, but what was I gonna? I think, Archer, you mentioned maybe last week the Golden Compass.
Not me.
Series, was it not you? Someone on a was it you, Michael?
No, might have been Lisa.
Maybe it might have been. Have either of you read that one, the series?
No, I've heard it's really good. I hear it pisses a lot of people off, though.
What's that?
I hear it pisses a lot of people off, just too close to the vest on some religious undertones.
Yeah, maybe. I've only read the first one, and it's a series I'd like to go back to, but it's one that your kids might like as well.
Mm.
So
we have some comments.
Yep.
Michelle Reed made a few comments. Fun fact: How to Say No is on my TBR list.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
She also says Kobo writing life. Now another thing on the long list of things to do as a writer. Thanks for that. And then yay zombie talk.
Zombies are pretty awesome.
Have you ever seen the movie? I know this isn't a book, but it's a movie. Have you ever seen the movie Zombies? Because there's a clever twist on that, and it shows, in most, Night of the Living Dead, zombies walk really slow and well, in this one, you see it from the point of view of the zombies, and society walks around really fast and talks like they're Alvin and the Chipmunks. So it's neat to see it from the opposite end.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All about perspective.
Exactly. Right. And it was just like, what is wrong with all these people? Something's got to be wrong with them. They're just running around like they're, so it's funny just to see it that way.
So I guess if we're talking about zombies, you would probably consider them to be the villains of the book or movie that you're reading, in
It
a
depends on
sense.
the movie, but
Nice transition.
it could be
Yes.
Segue.
So anyway, yeah. So our topic of the week that we blogged about and we're going to talk about now is villains or classic villains. So what are your guys' thoughts on villains?
Well, I'm a horror fan, so you can't have. I guess you could, but it's stupid. You can't have horror without the bad guy. And so there are just a lot of different ways that you can layer in why someone is misunderstood or evil or has gone corrupt. And I had mentioned them in the blog post and book as well as movie. The villain that has probably resonated with me more than anything else, and I've noticed it as I started to go back and revisit things that I've enjoyed reading and things that I've written, is Mr. Dark from Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Mm-hmm.
Just again, doing research for the story that I'm writing, I wanted to make sure because it takes place about a carnival, and I know that all of my villains that I've ever written have some layer of dark in them. I guess literally and metaphorically. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to just lift and plug and play because it's a concept, it's a tone that has lived with me since, oh my gosh, I don't remember, 30 years ago now that I saw it for the first time, and just to have someone be, I don't know of any redeeming value, quality. You have some people that it's just the misunderstood bad guy or good person went wrong. Dark is dark. I mean, there's a reason his name's not Light.
Yeah,
So he's
I
kind of
like
like,
Bradbury villains.
but he's kind of, and I'm trying to remember the character's name, but I think that makes him kind of like the villain in The Stand.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bad dude, no redeeming qualities. You remember his name?
I
It
can't.
escapes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll remember it at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like a,
If Michelle remembers, maybe she'll comment.
Yeah.
no, but even Count Dracula has a backstory that you can at least understand, why he went, or and Frankenstein is not. I mean, Frankenstein is an anti-hero. I wouldn't call him a villain, and the monster is not a villain. I mean, it just there's the closest you can come to pure evil is Mr. Hyde in the sense, but again that's a creation of its maker, and so there's the juxtaposition of, is Dr. Jekyll truly is he an anti-hero, is he a villain, and you have this dichotomy between people that Dark is just a bad dude.
Yeah. Or I think of like Captain Nemo too. Have any of you guys read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? I mean,
Yeah.
he's misunderstood. I mean,
Mhm.
he's just this guy. I mean, yeah, I don't know, he's kind of abrasive at times and sullen, but he just doesn't want to be around humanity anymore. And so all of his actions are colored through that.
Yeah, I like villains who you can kind of see where they're coming from. You can understand their point. So I think, the examples I was using earlier were from television, and so Gaius Baltar from Battlestar Galactica, fantastic villain or anti-hero, maybe.
No,
He's the
I'd say
hero.
he's
He's
more
the
of a
hero in
villain.
his own eyes, right?
Yeah, but he's definitely a
He,
villain. And that one is, good guys do bad things, bad guys do good things.
yep, absolutely. So he thinks he's doing the right thing, and they did a really good job on that show of showing how conflicted he was, and he's always out for himself, and he thinks he's doing the right thing, but you kind of wonder why he can't see that he's in the wrong. Benjamin Linus is another favorite of mine from Lost. Same kind of idea. He always thought he was doing the right thing for his people and for the island, but of course we're seeing things through the show or through the eyes of the survivors of the plane crash, and that's counter to what you are hoping that the people you're rooting for are counter goals to his, so he just becomes the villain. But you can kind of see what he's trying to do. So I think another one I had thought of was Hannibal Lecter.
Mhm.
Yep.
He's a good villain.
He's a great villain. Red Dragon's awesome, and Silence of the Lamb. It's a good book, and it's one of those, I wish I would have read the book before I saw the movie, but the movie came out when I was younger, and so you are predisposed to visualizing certain characters when you're reading the book, but those books are way better than the movies.
Yeah, they usually are. And I think the other one I mentioned was Moriarty of Sherlock Holmes
That's a good one.
fame, and I really like a villain who can put the hero, take him to task, not make it easy, make him work for his goals. That's more interesting, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sherlock
these
and
days,
Moriarty, yeah, that's definitely, they're tit for tat.
yeah, these days I think we see more, because we were talking about zombies earlier. I think we see more where it's the environment that is the villain. So I would say, the book I was talking about earlier, the by S.C. Barris, Discovering Aberration. It's really the island in that book. So there is a villain, but you really don't see him until the end of the book as a person. Up to that point, it's the island itself that is the villain. I know you can have weather as a villain, or a shark in Jaws, and I think I would like to see more books these days with a hardcore stand-up or nemesis, archenemy, villain, and a little less of say like a group or a thing. You've got Harry Potter. One of you mentioned Harry Potter, Voldemort.
Yep.
That's a good villain.
Yep, he's a good villain. Yeah, I
But
talk
it
about
has a
Long John
backstory
Silver.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, he does have a good backstory, and it makes sense, and he's believable. He's still evil as hell, but you understand where he's coming from, and I think that's the best point you can have with a villain. You have to know. Like I talked about Long John Silver in mine.
Yep.
I talked about him last week, so really no need to go into him anymore. But to kind of piggyback off of what you said, Archer, to kind of go with Bradbury. Any of you guys read Fahrenheit 451?
I love that story.
Sure.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite books too, and I love Captain Beatty. Awesome. Like, just talk about philosophical, moral opposite of the hero. He's the philosophical, moral representation of the society where books are evil. And the worst part about him is that he uses that against the main character Guy, but he also reads books, so he's just as, I don't know, it's kind of a double standard, and he uses that to his advantage, and so it's like this message of, okay, yeah, books are bad and they're not good and we should burn them, but at the same time we should use them to our advantage, and that's exactly what he's doing to manipulate the main character in that story, and he does kill too. So that's, I don't know, there's just something about him that's like bone chilling to me. I don't know, maybe you can comment, Archer, but I don't know, it's just his dialogue and just the fact how he uses his words. He's just a very
you had a level of hypocrisy
hypocrisy. That's the word I was looking for. He's an extreme hypocrite, but he's super good with his words. So you believe him.
Yeah, I can defend my hypocrisy because I can talk my way out of anything.
Yeah, I mean, he can. Yeah, there's nothing he can't talk his way out of, and without, I'm not going to spoil it, but for those who haven't read it, but yeah.
So do you think, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen an instance of a villain who kind of, maybe, I'd love to see this, maybe I'll have to write it, where halfway through the story they kind of stop and take a step back and go, wow, I'm a real piece of garbage.
Darth Vader.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure, right at the very end. Redemption, there you go. But I kind of like to see when it's like, wow, I'm a real piece of garbage, and I realize that now, but you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna keep heading down that path. I'm committed, but with the full realization that I'm one evil dude.
Mauricio Wolf.
Okay. Yeah, he knows it all along though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He has no qualms about being a bad dude. So you might want to tell everyone what series that's from.
Yesterday's Gone, by Sean Platt and David Wright. It's a 4th season. It's going into its 5th season, launching October 5th. It is The Stand meets Lost.
Nice.
Cool. Oh, we've got another comment. was going to say we have another comment from Michelle. She says, "My current villain is Lord Business from the Lego Movie. Wayward father. I'm not much help lately as the kids have taken over." So I haven't seen the Lego Movie. I've heard really good things
I
about
haven't
it.
either. Yeah,
It's cute. No, my son watches it on repeat. So yeah,
It's one of
it's
those
good.
movies.
That's cute.
About that villain you mentioned, Patrick. Any of you guys ever seen Once Upon a Time TV show?
On ABC.
Yeah,
Yeah, just bits and pieces.
I
But I've
think I'm
heard.
like the only guy that watches it, but I love that. I love that.
Which one is that? There were like 2 or 3 shows that came out last year with kind of similar premises, I think. Which one was that show?
This is the one where it's a character named Emma, and she's living in the real world, and it turns out that she's actually the daughter of Prince Charming and Snow White, and so she ends up going to this town in Maine that where all these storybook characters from all the fairy tales live, but they don't realize that they're living in the real world and that they're fairy tale characters.
Okay.
And it's really dramatic, but there's a character there. His name is Rumpelstiltskin. Obviously, being introduced, but they give him a backstory that's just like incredible, and like he's like this cold-hearted villain, but like he knows it, but at the same time, like he's got a soft side to him, but he just doesn't care, like he's trying to reconcile the fact that he's just rotten, and bound by a curse, but he still can't get out of it. And so that's kind of like a character you mentioned. He just gets halfway through it and realizes I'm garbage.
So is that in season 2? I
No,
thought that I know the show you're talking about. I thought it got canceled.
No, it's still going. I think it's in season 3, season 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. It's still going strong.
There was a bunch of shows like that kind of started around the same time, like Grimm.
Yeah.
And then they
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That one's worth watching, though. Yeah.
Which one? The one you mentioned?
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any sort of final words on villains? So we're coming up on 40 minutes.
Mm-mm.
No twirling mustaches.
Snidely Whiplash.
Yeah.
That has its place, though. That's in maybe like a
cartoons,
a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Those are all definitely Snidely Whiplash villains for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The monologuing.
That was almost a picture I used for the blog post, but I went with just a
we should you should turn it around and have like the monologuing hero.
Yeah.
Who before he finally defeats the villain, he monologues about all the how awesome he is or whatever, and lets the villain escape for another book.
Yeah. Why did I monologue?
Okay, so thanks to everyone in the comments, Michelle. And so I thought we're getting a little bit ahead so we can on our picking our topics. So next week we'll be talking about banning books and banned books. So books that have been banned in the past and the act of banning books. And we'll put up some blog words on that next week, and we'll talk about it next Tuesday on episode 9, so we're 2 months in. How you guys feeling?
It's pretty cool, man. Double digits are right around the corner.
Yeah.
And Archer, you've been here for 2 episodes?
Ha ha ha.
1.5.
In a row. 2 in a row.
Oh, we're on a streak. That's awesome. Let's keep it going.
That's right.
When do you hit tough times again as far as your schedule goes?
October.
Okay. Well, we'll get some more in between now and then.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So if that's it, we will see everybody next week. And thanks for coming. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.